Roddy Piper, affectionately known as Hot Rod, was one of the most charismatic and influential figures in professional wrestling history. Born Roderick George Dooms on April 17, 1954, in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, Piper carved a niche for himself with his quick wit, fiery temper, and undeniable presence. Donning a kilt and wielding bagpipes, he brought a unique blend of Scottish heritage and rebellious energy to the ring, captivating audiences around the globe. As a master of the microphone and an expert provocateur, Piper became a cornerstone of wrestling's golden era in the 1980s. Whether inciting riots as a villain or earning cheers as an anti-hero, Piper's impact went beyond the ropes, cementing his legacy as one of wrestling's all-time greats and a pop culture icon. Welcome to Wrestling with Me, the ultimate destination for wrestling fans. Get ready to dive into the world of high-flying action, jaw-dropping moments, and all the drama inside the squared circle. Whether you're here for legendary matches or in-depth analysis, this is the place to be. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay in the loop as we bring you the best wrestling content every week. Few names in professional wrestling evoke the same level of respect and nostalgia as Hot Rod Roddy Piper, known for his in-match charisma, razor-sharp wit, and penchant for chaos. Piper was a trailblazer who transcended the confines of the squared circle. While he was never the prototypical world champion, his contributions to the industry were unparalleled, cementing his place as one of wrestling's most enduring legends. This video explores the life, career, and cultural impact of Roddy Piper, delving into what made him a cornerstone of professional wrestling history. Raised in a tumultuous household, Piper's youth was marked by frequent moves and strained relationships. His rebellious nature led him to leave home at an early age, taking refuge in the world of sports and martial arts. Piper's athleticism and resilience soon guided him to professional wrestling, where he debuted at the astonishingly young age of 15. His early wrestling career saw him performing under his real name before adopting the Roddy Piper persona. The nickname Hot Rod came later, inspired by his fiery temper and quick wit. With his bagpipes in hand, a nod to his Scottish heritage and a kilt around his waist, Piper began cultivating the unique persona that would eventually become iconic. By the late 1970s, Piper had honed his craft in various wrestling territories, including the National Wrestling Alliance and promotions across Canada, also in the United States. His natural ability to connect to audiences, either as a lovable rogue or a despicable villain, set him apart from his peers. Piper's gift for improvisation and his silver tongue made him an asset to promoters seeking to ignite crowd reactions. It was in the early 1980s that Piper truly began to gain national recognition. His work in promotions like Georgia Championship Wrestling and Jim Crockett Promotions showcased his burgeoning talent. However, his big break came when he joined the World Wrestling Federation in 1984. One of Piper's most significant contributions to wrestling was the introduction of the talk show segment Piper's Pit. Debuting in 1984, the segment became a groundbreaking platform for storytelling and character development. And like traditional wrestling promos, Piper's Pit emphasized dialogue-driven confrontations, allowing Piper to showcase his verbal dexterity and psychological mastery. One of the most memorable moments in Piper's Pit history occurred when Piper smashed a coconut over Jimmy Superfly Snuka's head. The shocking act solidified Piper's status as one of wrestling's most hated villains. These segments not only elevated Piper's character but also laid the groundwork for countless rivalries, cementing Piper's Pit as a pivotal element of wrestling programming. Roddy Piper played a crucial role in the success of the inaugural WrestleMania in 1985. Paired with Paul Orndorff in a tag team match against Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, Piper was the antagonist fans loved to hate. The match infused with celebrity involvement and larger-than-life personas helped catapult WrestleMania into a global spectacle. While Piper's rivalry with Hogan defined much of the WWF's early boom period, it was his ability to draw heat and generate interest that made him invaluable. Piper didn't need championship belts to validate his importance. His mere presence guaranteed an emotional reaction from the audience. Piper's career was marked by an ability to seamlessly transition between roles. Whether he was a villain inciting riots or a beloved hero standing up against tyranny, Piper's authenticity shone through. This versatility was evident in his matches against an array of opponents, including Greg the Hammer Valentine, Bret Hitman Hart, and Adrian Adonis. At WrestleMania 6 in 1990, Roddy Piper faced Bad News Brown. For this match, Piper painted half of his body black to symbolize the supposed two sides of his personality. The gesture was intended as mind games in the storyline but was widely criticized as racially insensitive and offensive. Piper later claimed he didn't see it as racist and was attempting to create a psychological angle for the match, but it remains one of the most controversial moments of his career. Piper often pushed boundaries with his promos. While he was known for his sharp wit and improvisation, some of this work included racial or ethnic undertones that would be considered unacceptable by today's standards. For example, during his feud with Mr. T leading into WrestleMania, Piper made comments that some fans and critics interpreted as racist. His match against Bret Hart at WrestleMania 8 remains a standout example of Piper's technical prowess and storytelling ability. The bout showcased Piper's capacity to adapt his in-ring style, proving that he was more than just a charismatic talker. The blend of sportsmanship and cunning in this match demonstrated the depth of Piper's character, leaving fans with a lasting memory of his multifaceted talents. Beyond the wrestling ring, Roddy Piper made a significant impact on popular culture. His starring role in John Carpenter's 1988 cult classic They Live introduced him to a broader audience. As Now a drifter who discovers a Sinistralian conspiracy, Piper delivered the now iconic line, "I have come here to chew bubblegum and cake ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum." Piper's performance in They Live showcased his natural charisma and acting chops, earning him a place in the annals of science fiction cinema. His foray into Hollywood reflected the growing crossover appeal of professional wrestlers, paving the way for future stars like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Dave Bautista. While Piper's career was filled with triumphs, it was not without its challenges. The physical and mental toll of wrestling, coupled with personal struggles, tested his resilience. Piper's candidness about his battles with addiction and the pressures of the wrestling industry shed light on the often harsh realities faced by performers. Despite these struggles, Piper remained a beloved figure among fans and peers alike. His willingness to mentor younger wrestlers and share his experiences demonstrated his enduring passion for the business. On July 31, 2015, Roddy Piper passed away in his sleep at the age of 61 due to a cardiac arrest. His untimely death shocked the wrestling world and left an irreplaceable void in the hearts of fans and peers. Despite his passing, Piper's influence and legacy remain as strong as ever. Roddy Piper's influence on professional wrestling is immeasurable. His ability to captivate audiences with his words and actions set a standard for future generations of wrestlers. From his trailblazing work in Piper's Pit to his unforgettable rivalries, Piper redefined what it meant to be a wrestling superstar. Even after his untimely passing in 2015, Piper's legacy endures. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005, a testament to his indelible impact on the industry. Modern wrestlers often cite Piper as an inspiration, with his innovative promos and larger-than-life persona serving as a blueprint for success. Hot Rod Roddy Piper was more than just a wrestler. He was an entertainer, a provocateur, and a cultural icon. His ability to blur the lines between reality and fiction, combined with his unparalleled charisma, made him one of the most compelling figures in professional wrestling history. Piper's contributions to the sport and his influence on popular culture ensure that his legacy will continue to resonate with fans for generations to come. As the man himself might say, just when they think they've got the answers, I change the questions. Well, that's all we've got time for today, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. See you in the next video.
John William Minton, also known as Big John Studd, was a towering figure in the world of professional wrestling during the 1970s and 1980s. Known for his imposing physical stature, charisma, and memorable feuds, Studd left an indelible mark on the sport. Over the course of his career, he became a household name, earning accolades and creating iconic moments that have become part of wrestling lore. Today we take a look at the career of Big John Studd, exploring his rise to prominence, his most significant matches and rivalries, and his lasting legacy in the wrestling world. Welcome to Wrestling with Me, the ultimate destination for wrestling fans. Get ready to dive into the world of high-flying action, jaw-dropping moments, and all the drama inside the squared circle. Whether you're here for legendary matches or in-depth analysis, this is the place to be. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay in the loop as we bring you the best wrestling content every week. Born on February 19, 1948, in Butler, Pennsylvania, John Minton grew up in a modest household. His imposing height and natural athleticism made him a standout in sports during his school years. After high school, he served in the United States Army before pursuing a career in professional wrestling. Trained by wrestling legends Killer Kowalski and The Sheik, Minton quickly developed the skills and persona needed to succeed in the industry. He initially wrestled under various ring names, including Chuck O'Connor, before settling on the moniker Big John Studd. Studd's early wrestling career saw him competing in various regional promotions across the United States. He debuted in the American Wrestling Association in the early 1970s and later moved to the National Wrestling Alliance. During this time, he honed his craft and established himself as a dominant big man in the ring. His size, standing at 6 feet 10 inches and weighing over 360 pounds, made him a natural heel, and he often played the role of a menacing enforcer. While in the NWA, Studd had notable feuds with popular babyfaces of the time. These rivalries helped him build a reputation as a credible and intimidating performer. However, it was his move to the World Wrestling Federation in the late 1970s that truly elevated his career. Big John Studd joined the WWF in 1976 but gained significant traction during his second stint in the early 1980s. Managed by the infamous Bobby the Brain Heenan, Studd became one of the top heels in the promotion. Heenan's managerial skills and Studd's physical dominance were a perfect pairing, creating a duo that fans loved to hate. One of the defining aspects of Studd's career was his legendary feud with Andre the Giant. As two of the largest men in professional wrestling, their clashes were billed as battles of titanic proportions. The rivalry was fueled by Studd's claim to be the true giant of professional wrestling, a title fiercely contested by Andre. Their feud reached its peak at the first ever WrestleMania in 1985 when Studd and Andre faced off in a $15,000 body slam challenge. The stipulation was simple: if Andre could body slam Studd, he would win $15,000. If he failed, Andre would be forced to retire. The match captivated fans and showcased both men's physicality and charisma. Andre ultimately prevailed, body slamming Studd to a thunderous ovation and solidifying his status as the premier giant in wrestling. In addition to his singles career, Studd also achieved success as a tag team competitor. He frequently partnered with other heels, including King Kong Bundy, forming a formidable duo that terrorized the WWF roster. Studd and Bundy's alliance led to memorable matches against top babyface teams of the era, further cementing Studd's reputation as a dominant force. Big John Studd's participation in WrestleMania events was a testament to his stature within the WWF. Beyond the iconic match against Andre at WrestleMania 1, Studd made notable appearances in subsequent editions of the flagship event. At WrestleMania 2, Big John Studd participated in a 20-man battle royal that featured competitors from both the wrestling and NFL worlds. One of Studd's career highlights came in 1989 when he won the second-ever Royal Rumble match. Entering the match as a surprise participant, Studd outlasted a field of top competitors to claim victory. The win was significant as it marked a high point in his career, showcasing his resilience and ability to thrive in a chaotic, multi-competitor environment. Big John Studd also crossed paths with Hulk Hogan, the WWF's top star during the 1980s. While their matches were not as celebrated as Studd's rivalry with Andre, they nonetheless drew significant attention. Studd's clashes with Hogan often revolved around his desire to prove himself as the most dominant force in the WWF, a goal that put him in direct conflict with the Hulkster. By the late 1980s, the physical toll of wrestling began to take a toll on Studd. He left the WWF in 1986, citing injuries and a desire to spend more time with his family. However, he returned briefly in 1989, enjoying a short but memorable run that included his Royal Rumble victory. Studd officially retired from wrestling in the early 1990s. Sadly, we lost Big John Studd when he passed away on March 20, 1995, at the age of 47, after a battle with liver cancer and Hodgkin's disease. Despite his relatively short life, Studd's contributions to professional wrestling continue to be celebrated. In 2004, he was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, a recognition of his impact on the industry. Studd's career paved the way for other super heavyweight wrestlers who sought to emulate his success. His ability to blend size, athleticism, and charisma set a standard for giants in professional wrestling. Wrestlers like Big Show and Braun Strowman have cited Studd as an inspiration, underscoring his enduring influence. Beyond the ring, Big John Studd became a recognizable figure in popular culture. He made appearances in movies and television shows, leveraging his wrestling fame to reach a broader audience. His larger-than-life persona and memorable feuds have ensured that his name remains synonymous with the golden age of wrestling. Big John Studd's career was marked by unforgettable moments, fierce rivalries, and a commanding presence that made him a standout in the wrestling world. From his early days in regional promotions to his stardom in the WWF, Studd's journey was one of perseverance and triumph. His feuds with Andre the Giant, his Royal Rumble victory, and his contributions to the tag team division are just a few examples of his impact on the sport. As a Hall of Famer and an icon of the 1980s wrestling boom, Big John Studd's legacy is secure. He remains a symbol of an era when professional wrestling captivated audiences with its larger-than-life characters and epic storylines. His influence extends beyond the ring, inspiring generations of wrestlers to pursue greatness and embrace their unique strengths. Studd's story is also a testament to the resilience required to succeed in professional wrestling. Despite the physical and emotional challenges he faced, he continued to deliver memorable performances that entertain millions of fans worldwide. His dedication to the craft of wrestling and his ability to connect with audiences highlight the essence of what makes a wrestling legend. Furthermore, Big John Studd exemplified the evolution of professional wrestling during a transformative period in the sport's history. His contributions helped shape the landscape of the WWF, paving the way for future stars to thrive. As fans look back on his career, they are reminded of the magic of wrestling's golden era and the larger-than-life personalities that defined it. Ultimately, Big John Studd's legacy is one of greatness, inspiration, and a lasting impact on the world of professional wrestling. His towering presence, both physically and metaphorically, ensures that he will always be remembered as one of the true giants of the sport. Well, that's all we've got time for today, and a big thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. See you in the next video.
Jim Hellwig, better known to the world as the Ultimate Warrior, remains one of the most electrifying and polarizing figures in professional wrestling history. His life and legacy, marked by meteoric rises, public controversies, and a lasting cultural impact, paint a complex portrait of a man who lived life on his own terms. From his humble beginnings to his induction into the WWE Hall of Fame and his untimely death, the story of the Ultimate Warrior is as dramatic and intense as the character he portrayed in the ring. Welcome to Wrestling with Me, the ultimate destination for wrestling fans. Get ready to dive into the world of high-flying action, jaw-dropping moments, and all the drama inside the squared circle. Whether you're here for legendary matches, in-depth analysis, or the latest wrestling buzz, this is the place to be. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay in the loop as we bring you the best wrestling content every week. Born James Brian Hellwig on June 16, 1959, in Crawfordsville, Indiana, Hellwig's early life was far removed from the colorful world of professional wrestling. He grew up in a modest household, the eldest of 5 siblings. After his parents' divorce, Hellwig shouldered significant responsibilities, which shaped his work ethic and determination. His passion for bodybuilding began in his teenage years. Inspired by iconic figures like he emphasized themes of personal responsibility, self-empowerment, and individuality. While his messages resonated with some, they also drew criticism for their confrontational tone and occasional forays into political and social commentary. The story of the Ultimate Warrior took a remarkable turn in the final years of Hellwig's life. After years of estrangement from WWE, he reconciled with the organization in 2014. This reconciliation culminated in his induction into the Hall of Fame, a moment that was celebrated by fans and peers alike. In his heartfelt induction speech, Warrior reflected on his career, thanked his supporters, and emphasized the importance of leaving a lasting legacy. Tragically, just days after his Hall of Fame induction and an emotional appearance on Monday Night Raw, Hellwig passed away on April 8, 2014. At the age of 54, his sudden death from a heart attack shocked the wrestling world and added an almost mythical dimension to his legacy. Fans and colleagues remembered him not only as a larger-than-life character but also as a man who had sought redemption and closure in his final days. The Ultimate Warrior's impact on professional wrestling is undeniable. His unique style and persona inspired a generation of wrestlers who sought to emulate his intensity and charisma. Wrestlers such as Jeff Hardy and Goldberg have cited Warrior as an influence on their careers. Moreover, his presence transcended wrestling, appearing in comic books, video games, and other forms of media that solidified his status as a cultural icon. Despite his polarizing nature, Warrior's contributions to the industry were recognized through numerous tributes and accolades. WWE established the Warrior Award in his honor, presented annually at the Hall of Fame ceremony to individuals who exhibit courage, strength, and perseverance. This award reflects the enduring spirit of Warrior's message and the positive aspects of his legacy. I like to think that Warrior found some peace and closure after his Hall of Fame ceremony. He was carrying all the hate, anger, and betrayal for years. He had his family with him and actually looked really happy, probably the first time in a long time for Warrior. Just a tough call what happened after the Hall of Fame with him dying after WrestleMania. While the Ultimate Warrior remains a beloved figure among many fans, his legacy is not without controversy. Critics have pointed to his contentious relationships, controversial remarks, and sometimes erratic behavior as blemishes on his otherwise stellar career. These complexities highlight the duality of Hellwig's persona, a man who inspired millions but also courted controversy. Yet, it is this very complexity that makes the Ultimate Warrior's story so compelling. His journey from a small-town boy to an international superstar, his battles both inside and outside the ring, and his quest for redemption in his final days create a narrative that resonates on multiple levels. Warrior's life is a testament to the power of individuality, determination, and the enduring appeal of larger-than-life characters. Jim Hellwig, the Ultimate Warrior, left an indelible mark on the world of professional wrestling and beyond. His larger-than-life persona, unforgettable moments, and unwavering commitment to his ideals ensure that his legacy will endure for generations to come. Though his life was cut short, the spirit of the Ultimate Warrior lives on in the hearts of fans and the countless individuals who draw inspiration from his story. In the end, Warrior's legacy is not just about what he achieved in the ring but also about the impact he made on those who believed in his message, to always fight for what you believe in and to live life with unrelenting passion. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. See you in the next video. In the world of professional wrestling, few names strike fear and admiration like this one. He was a giant among men, a colossus who moved like a cruiserweight, and a legend whose impact spanned continents. From Japan to WCW, his name echoed as a symbol of power, agility, and sheer dominance. He wasn't just a wrestler, he was a phenomenon. Today we're diving into the life, career, and legacy of the mastodon himself, Big Van Vader. Welcome to Wrestling with Me, the ultimate destination for wrestling fans. Get ready to dive into the world of high-flying action, jaw-dropping moments, and all the drama inside the squared circle. Whether you're here for legendary matches, in-depth analysis, or the latest wrestling buzz, this is the place to be. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay in the loop as we bring you the best wrestling content every week. Leon Allen White was born on May 14, 1955, in Linwood, California. From a young age, Leon's size and athleticism set him apart. By high school, he was already making waves as a football player, earning a scholarship to the University of Colorado. A standout offensive lineman, he was named an All-American and drafted by the Los Angeles Rams in the third round of the 1978 NFL Draft. Leon's stint in the NFL included playing in Super Bowl 14, but injuries, specifically a ruptured patella, ended his football career prematurely. With his dreams of gridiron glory behind him, Leon sought a new outlet for his athletic prowess. Transitioning to professional wrestling wasn't immediate for Leon. He began training under Brad Rheingans, a former Olympian and renowned coach. Rheingans instilled the fundamentals of wrestling in Leon, emphasizing the importance of technical skills even for a man of his size. Leon debuted in 1985 in the American Wrestling Association AWA under the moniker Baby Bull. Though his performances were raw, his undeniable charisma and size made him stand out. Promoters began to see the potential in him, but it wasn't until he traveled overseas that his career truly began to take shape. In 1987, Leon signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling in JPW, a promotion known for its strong style of wrestling. NJPW Creative envisioned a character based on Japanese folklore, Big Van Vader, a demonic warrior from ancient legends. Leon embraced the persona, donning a fearsome black mask and a smoke-spewing horn helmet during his entrances. Vader's debut was explosive literally and figuratively. He defeated Antonio Inoki, one of Japan's most revered wrestling icons, in just minutes. The shocking result sparked riots in the arena, with fans outraged over Inoki's defeat. The chaos only solidified Vader's reputation as a force of nature. From 1988 to the early 1990s, Vader became a cornerstone of NJPW. His matches were characterized by their stiff, brutal style, a hallmark of Japanese wrestling. Despite weighing over 400 pounds, Vader performed high-flying moves, including his signature moonsault, leaving audiences in awe. In 1989, Vader captured the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, becoming the first non-Japanese wrestler to hold the title. This milestone underscored his ability to transcend cultural boundaries and solidified his status as a global star. His rivalries with Tatsumi Fujinami and Riki Choshu further elevated his status, with each match showcasing Vader's blend of power, agility, and psychology. In 1990, Vader made sporadic appearances in World Championship Wrestling, but only 2 years later Vader became a full-time roster member. Managed by Holly Race, Vader's character evolved into a monstrous, unstoppable heel. At the Great American Bash in 1992, Vader defeated Sting to win his first WCW World Heavyweight Championship. The match was a clash of styles, with Sting's athleticism pitted against Vader's brute strength. This victory marked the beginning of Vader's dominance in WCW. Vader's rivalry with Sting defined his WCW tenure. Their matches, including the memorable bout at Super Brawl 3 in 1993, were hailed as classics. Vader's ability to tell a story in the ring, playing the menacing monster to Sting's courageous hero, captivated audiences. One of their most notable encounters was the King of Cable tournament final in 1992, where Sting narrowly overcame Vader in a hard-fought battle. Despite Sting's victory, Vader's aura of dominance remained intact. In 1993, Vader engaged in a legendary feud with Cactus Jack. Their matches were brutal, with both men pushing the limits of physical punishment. In one infamous match, Vader's strikes legitimately broke Foley's nose and caused him to lose part of his ear. Their Texas Death Match at Halloween Havoc 1993 is still remembered as one of the most violent bouts in WCW history. The match exemplified Vader's willingness to put his body on the line to create compelling storytelling. Vader's feud with Ric Flair culminated in their match at Starrcade 1993, where Flair defeated Vader in an emotional, career-defining bout. The storyline, which saw Flair put his career on the line, added stakes to the match, and Vader's performance as the dominant yet vulnerable heel was masterful. In 1996, Vader debuted in the World Wrestling Federation with high expectations. He made an immediate impact at the Royal Rumble and solidified his position as a top heel by attacking then-President Gorilla Monsoon. Vader's feuds with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker showcased his talent, but his WWF run was plagued by injuries and backstage politics. A notorious moment came when Michaels, then WWF champion, reportedly refused to drop the title to Vader, derailing his push. Despite setbacks in the WWF, Vader remained a star internationally. He returned to Japan, competing in All Japan Pro Wrestling and later Pro Wrestling Noah. His matches with Mitsuharu Misawa, Kenta Kobashi, and Jun Akiyama were praised for their intensity and storytelling. Vader also found success in Europe and Mexico, demonstrating his adaptability and global appeal. Outside wrestling, Vader became a pop culture icon. His appearances on Boy Meets World introduced him to younger audiences, and his larger-than-life persona made him a natural fit for television. Years of wrestling took a toll on Vader's health. He underwent multiple surgeries and faced heart complications but continued to wrestle on the independent circuit into his 60s. Despite his declining health, Vader remained passionate about the industry, often mentoring younger talent. Vader was a trailblazer for super heavyweights. His ability to combine raw power with agility redefined what big men could do in the ring. In 2022, Vader was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. His family accepted the honor on his behalf, celebrating his contributions to wrestling. Leon White passed away in 2018 at 63, but his legacy lives on. Fans remember Vader not only for his matches but for his charisma, innovation, and dedication to the sport. Big Van Vader's career is a testament to resilience and reinvention. From his dominance in Japan to his legendary feuds in WCW, Vader proved that giants could soar. His story will forever be etched in the annals of professional wrestling history. Well, that's all we've got time for today, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. See you in the next video.
Brian Pillman was a groundbreaking professional wrestler, known for his unpredictable in-ring style and charismatic personality. Starting his career in the late 1980s, Pillman quickly made a name for himself with a unique blend of technical skill and high-flying maneuvers that set him apart in promotions like Stampede Wrestling and WCW. His agility and intense athleticism earned him the nickname Flyin' Brian, and he formed a popular tag team with stunning Steve Austin called the Hollywood Blondes, which helped him rise to greater prominence. But Pillman was more than just a physical talent. His charisma and willingness to push boundaries made him one of the most captivating figures in wrestling. Pillman's career took a dramatic turn when he created the loose cannon persona, a character that blurred the lines between reality and storyline in unprecedented ways. His unpredictable behavior, both on screen and behind the scenes, kept fans and fellow wrestlers on edge, making him one of the most talked about figures in the business. This innovative approach eventually led him to WWE, where he continued to push the envelope before his tragic passing in 1997. Though his career was cut short, Brian Pillman left an indelible mark on professional wrestling, paving the way for future generations of performers who would embrace edgier, reality-based characters. Hi there and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit subscribe to join us as we post exciting new content every week. Also, turn on notifications so you never miss out on anything, and let's dive right into it. As a child growing up, it was pretty tough for Pillman. Due to the development of multiple throat polyps, he would have to undergo a huge amount of operations. He had around 36 operations in total, many of which happened before the age of 3. Because of this medical issues, Pillman spent a large part of his early childhood in a hospital, only going home for Christmas. Because of this, Pillman's mother chose to send him to a public school so that he could spend more time with his friends. He was often made fun of by other children because of his raspy voice, which had been damaged by the many operations. This, according to his mother, prompted him to learn how to box. Pillman graduated from Norwood High School in Norwood. While attending Miami University in Oxford, Pillman played football for Redskins as a defensive tackle, where he set the record in the tackles for loss category. Pillman had difficulty with the education side and needed help with school to continue to play. He was a Division I second-team All-American in his junior year and a Division I All-American in his senior year. He went undrafted in the 1984 NFL Draft. As a free agent, he joined his hometown Cincinnati and later the Calgary Stampeders in the Canadian Football League in 1986. He would also play for the Buffalo Bills for the preseason in 1985, but he was the last player cut before the start of that season. Following the end of his football career, Pillman stayed in Canada and began wrestling training in the Hart Dungeon and debuted in November 1986 in Hart's Calgary-based Stampede Wrestling promotion. Pillman would tag with Hart's son Bruce, known as Bad Company. In April 1987, Bad Company would win the Stampede International Tag Team Championship, defeating Ronstar and the Cuban Assassin in the finals of a tournament. Their reign lasted until October 1987, when the titles were held up after a controversial finish to a match between Bad Company and Jerry Morrow and Makan Singh. Bad Company defeated Morrow and Singh in a rematch in November 1987 to regain the titles, eventually losing them to Morrow and the Cuban Assassin in July 1988. Pillman wrapped up with Stampede on August 13, 1988, and went to the Continental Wrestling Association in Memphis to continue his career. He would also do a stint in New Japan Pro Wrestling before working his way to WCW, where I first saw him as Flying Brian. So, as I said, he made it to the WCW, where he was giving the name Flying Brian Pillman in June 1989. He got the name due to his athletic ability and variety of aerial maneuvers. He and Beautiful Bobby Eaton were one of the first American wrestlers to incorporate a variety of lucha moves into their arsenal. From February to May 1990, he would hold the NWA United States Tag Team Championship with Tom Zenk. He also held the short-lived WCW Light Heavyweight Championship twice between October 1991 and February 1992. Feuding with the likes of Brad Armstrong, Ricky Morton, and Scotty Flamingo, or Raven to all you big fans out there. Shout out to Scotty. He never really got a chance to shine, and he was an amazing worker. In September 1992, Pillman turned heel and was scheduled to wrestle Brad Armstrong for the WCW Light Heavyweight title at Clash of the Champions 20. Although this wouldn't happen as Armstrong had a legit knee injury and had to vacate the title. 2 months later, on November 1992, Pillman formed a tag team with Barry Windham where they would challenge Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas for both the NWA and WCW World Tag Team Championships at Starrcade on December 28, 1992. His luck was out, though, and they lost the match to Douglas and Steamboat. He would continue working with Windham until January 1993, when Windham would set his sights on the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Pillman kept hunting for the tag belts and started to team up with none other than the future Stone Cold. They would be given the name of the Hollywood Blondes. Brian totally ran with the gimmick and splashed out a new matching outfit for both of them, and I must say, they really shone at this, and if it wasn't for Pillman's injury, they would defo been in my top 5 tag teams of all time. Their last match together was at an episode of WCW Main Event. This was because Pillman suffered a leg injury, causing them to have to drop the belts. This must have stung at the time for Brian, getting to his first massive push only to be canceled. Obviously, Austin had his own career to focus on as Brian recovered. Lord Steven Regal would team with Austin and drop both NWA and WCW World Tag Team titles. Upon his return, Pillman would turn into a good guy and feud with his former partner, and also attempted to win the WCW World Television Championship, but failed, ending the match a time-limit draw. There was a good few months past, and he was off TV until January 1995. He would make it back to TV, where he would feud with wrestlers such as Brad Armstrong. Eddie Guerrero, Alex Wright, and Marcus Bagwell before teaming up with Arn Anderson to feud with Flair and Sting at Halloween Havoc. After that, he would reform the Four Horsemen when Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, along with Chris Benoit, decided to give it a try. Brian was starting to develop his loose cannon gimmick in around the end of 1995 when he would start displaying some unpredictable behavior. Arn Anderson tried to wind his neck in a bit. He started wearing black leather vests, jewelry, sunglasses, and t-shirts with monsters on them. He would constantly blur the lines between fact and fiction when doing promos. Pillman would lose an I Respect You strap match at Super Brawl 1996 to Kevin Sullivan. At the end of that match, Pillman, who just lost, said, "I respect you, Booker Man." This was a no-no in professional wrestling to break kayfabe, and WCW president Eric Bischoff had no choice but to fire him. By mid-February, he was signed to ECW for what must have been a short-term contract, and did a promo like a chance meeting with Joey Styles at an ECW annual internet convention on February 17, 1996. Pillman would continue his loose cannon gimmick and start insulting Eric Bischoff, calling him a commentator, a gopher, and a piece of effing shit. He stopped Joey from stopping the interview and turned to the fans and calling them a bunch of smart marks before threatening to whip out his big Wolf whistle and piss all over the place. My God, this guy has really lost it by this point. Booker Paul Heyman and owner of ECW Todd Gordon confronted Pillman on his actions and then proceeded to get security to remove him from the arena. As he was getting escorted, he bent over and removed a fork that was being hidden in his boot. He started to attack a Plant audience member with the fork. In fact, it was quite an angle they had going here. Backstage, he insulted New Jack's tag partner Mustafa Saad by calling him the N-word. Very distasteful behavior. All this build-up, and Pillman fell asleep at the wheel of his Hummer and crashed it into a tree and actually tipped the car upside down. This was a serious accident that could have ended him, as he was in a coma for a whole week. He did some serious damage to his foot in the car wreck, so much so that the surgeons had to fuse the foot back together in a walking position so he couldn't do his high-flying stuff he did as Flying Brian. He would have to change up his style a lot. Brian Pillman's WWF run, though brief, was marked by his continued commitment to pushing boundaries and innovating his craft. Joining the company in 1996, Pillman brought his loose cannon persona to a global stage, immediately standing out for his erratic behavior and unpredictable promos. Despite being hampered by a serious ankle injury sustained in a car accident before his WWF debut, Pillman adapted his style to focus more on his psychological intensity and verbal skills. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Me, the ultimate destination for wrestling fans. Get ready to dive into the world of high-flying action, jaw-dropping moments, and all the drama inside the squared circle. Whether you're here for legendary matches, in-depth analysis, or the latest wrestling buzz, this is the place to be. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay in the loop as we bring you the best wrestling content every week. Today, we continue with part 2 of Brian Pillman Unleashed, so let's get right into it. It would only be 2 months after the car accident, and Brian Pillman was signed to WWF with a guaranteed contract. He was the second wrestler that ever got the guaranteed contract due to the period that Vince McMahon began to protect the company from abruptly losing talent to WCW, with Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Lex Luger all doing so previously. Brian commentated for the first while, due to still recovering from his foot injury. He did, however, transition to a wrestler again when he attacked a fan at ringside who was getting a bit out of control during an episode of WWF Superstars on the 29th of June, 1996. November the 4th saw the now infamous Pillman's Got a Gun promo with Stone Cold. He was initially set to team up with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he started to favor Bret Hart when he realized he was being used as a lackey to Austin. Austin ended up attacking Pillman in the ring during an interview and so started feuding when Stone Cold threatened to come to Pillman's house to fight. Pillman, however, had different ideas when he pulled out a gun at his house and proclaimed that when Austin 316 meets Pillman 9mm Glock, I'm gonna blast his sorry ass straight to hell. When Austin got to the house, he started fighting with Pillman's friends and quickly disposing of them. Austin then proceeded to smash into Pillman's home and advance on his former friend and Hollywood blonde partner. I don't think he was ready for what happened next. This all the while was being broadcast live at the time on TV. Pillman pulled his gun on Austin and chaos ensued. His wife started screaming for help just as the camera feed died. It wasn't long though before the video went live again after a couple of explosions was heard. Viewers witnessed Pillman's friends dragging Austin from the house while Pillman aimed the gun at Austin and announced his intention to kill that son of a bitch. Pillman also slipped up by saying get out of the fucking way. Obviously, there wasn't any way the TV guys could have edited it out. Eventually, Pillman and the WWF apologized for the way things turned out in the angle, but hey, what can you do on a live feed? When WrestleMania 13 was over, Pillman started to be seen more and more around the Hart Foundation. It was like a Stampede Wrestling reunion as everyone was there like Bret Hart, Owen Hart, the Anvil, and the Bulldog. In the process, he began feuding with his former partner, Steve Austin again. Pillman began competing again as a full-time in-ring competitor in May of '97, teaming with Hart Foundation members in tag matches against Austin and the Legion of Doom. They even had a 10-man match in the main event of In Your House 16, which the Hart Foundation won. Once the Austin feud was over, Pillman started to feud with Gold Dust where they would fight over Marlene. Pillman was unsuccessful in his match at SummerSlam with Gold Dust and was forced to wear a woman's dress for a whole month while wrestling. It was one of the most craziest and funniest things I ever saw. Pillman and Gold Dust would meet again at In Your House 17, again over Marlene and this time, Pillman's career. Gold Dust lost this time, so Marlene would essentially be used by Pillman in any way he saw fit. This was defo an angle you couldn't do today, but back then it was acceptable behavior. Pillman's final televised match would be against the Patriot when he won by disqualification because Gold Dust interfered in the match on an episode of Shotgun Saturday Night. Afterwards, Gold Dust chased him and Marlena out of the arena. Ironically, Pillman actually dated Marlena back in his WCW day before she would marry Gold Dust years later. Pillman was supposed to wrestle Dude Love at the WWF pay-per-view In Your House 18, Bad Blood on October 5, 1997. Steve Austin relayed that Jim Cornette was asked to look for Pillman. Cornette contacted the Budgetal Motel in Bloomington, Minnesota, where Pillman had stayed the previous night and was told by the receptionist that sadly, Pillman was found dead in his hotel room earlier that day at 1:09 p.m. This guy was only 35 years old and still had much to give the business. An autopsy attributed Pillman's death to a heart attack. However, Steve Austin explained that this was caused by previously undetected atherosclerotic heart disease, a condition which had also led to the death of Pillman's father. The next night on Raw, the WWF paid tribute to Brian Pillman. Later that night, Vince McMahon also interviewed Melanie Pillman. Pillman's adopted daughter, Alexis Michelle Reed, entered professional wrestling as a valet in early 2008 and ring girl under the name Sexy Lexi Pillman. Sadly, tragedy would strike again on November 26, 2009. Alexis died from injuries caused by an automobile accident. She was only 26 years old. His son Brian also wrestles and carries the legacy for Pillman. He has wrestled for the likes of AEW and WWE. In conclusion, Brian Pillman's influence on professional wrestling transcends his in-ring achievements. By breaking the mold with his loose cannon persona and pushing the boundaries of reality in storytelling, he challenged conventions and inspired a new wave of wrestlers to explore edgier, more complex characters. Pillman's legacy is felt not only in the evolution of wrestling personalities, but also in the way the industry embraces unpredictability and realism, making it more engaging and dynamic for fans around the world. Though his life and career were tragically cut short, Pillman's contributions remain a lasting testament to his creativity and daring spirit. His impact on the wrestling industry and the fans who connected with his work is undeniable, and his legacy lives on through the performers he inspired and the character-driven approach he helped popularize. Brian Pillman was, and remains, an iconic figure whose bold approach to the sport continues to shape professional wrestling to this day. Well, that's all we've got time for today, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. See you in the next video.